right, let's call this meeting in order. Please rise for the flag salute. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item 3, any citizen desiring to be heard. Damon, got anything?
No, sir. Thank you, though.
All right. Hearing none, we'll move on. Item 4, meeting with county officers regarding estimates of needs for 2021.
Commissioners, I put the packets in front of you of all the submitted estimates in the order here. I will tell you the first one up was District Attorney Laura Thomas. She could not be here today due to a conference. She did email, pass this email to each of you. You pass. Basically, it states that her request is the same as last year.
So Chairman, a comment, maybe a question.
Sure.
We're not here today to approve or really discuss the adequacy of the estimate of needs, but just to receive those and review them for our next meeting where we will be deciding that, correct?
That's the way I take it, we're just receiving.
Okay. All right.
Gave the officers to have an opportunity to explain the logic behind their request.
Absolutely, I get that.
But when they're not here, they can't explain it.
Very good. Thank you, sir.
Next is the election board, and Shalene could not be here either. She did send this, that I believe there's no change from last year's request. Mommy, if you could.
Thanks, sir.
County Sheriff.
President. Commissioners, as you can see before you on mine, the detention side of it, are you guys on that page? Because I got scolded last time over your text side of the orders, it wasn't in order. So I'll be happy to discuss either side.
I have no idea what he's talking about.
You've experienced it, Martin.
I got it.
So on the detention side, the 84,000 stayed the same. On the front side, there's a couple things. But I'd like to add one dispatcher to the general fund. That's expense on my side, 28,000. And I'd like to move one of my certified guys from my sales tax to general and use the salary from the tax to give raises. That move would be around 32,000, and I'd like to increase my general part-time from what it is now to an additional 5,000.
32,000, now that don't include retirement.
No, sir.
I mean, that's just wages.
Yeah, that's just wages. I can put those numbers together for you.
Alright, I'm good.
I did try to come prepared today.
You have any questions for the sheriff?
No, just maybe a comment for the board to kind of remind us where we've been. Last year, the board approved raises for the patrol division, and this year the sheriff's office is asking for raises for the detention folks. I know that all three of us got a visit from Deputy Q-Tag walking around one of the newer patrol division deputies, and he came from the detention staff. And I mention that because that's the entry level position for our county sheriff's office, is the detention staff. They get in there and and they do a good job for the sheriff and, you know, how they treat the inmates and working with them. And if they work out well there, then they get promoted to being a patrol deputy. And I think it's very important that I mean, Damon does a really good job, and his staff does a good job screening those folks, and to make sure that we get the cream of the crop out on the patrol division. And so I support paying our detention staff enough money to where we can attract good people to those jobs as well. That's all I have, sir.
All right. Thank you, Zane.
Court clerk, she could not be here this morning.
She take the day off?
No, sir, they are in a full court situation and she's short-handed this morning.
Yeah.
NBA?
So, here's her statement. For just, the difference is a small increase, she says, for her salaries.
Any questions on the court clerk?
None here, sir.
Mike? Civil defense?
5,000, 45, 700 increase in salaries.
Okay.
I'm good.
Good morning.
Good morning, David.
Pretty much everything has stayed the same. Personnel services, I put in for a $50 a month raise, and then somehow we got off a couple years back and there wasn't enough, and I was having to transfer some money within accounts. So the difference of, what was it, 1806.96 would actually get me caught up to where I need to be. I'm not sure how
Where's that, bud?
So last year I had $42,000, and then this year I'm asking for $44,406. And of that $44,406, 600 of it would be for a $50 a month raise, and then the
Oh, I see what you're talking about. Okay.
the difference, 1806.96.
Okay.
I'm not sure how we really got off, but there hadn't been enough in there the last. Troy brought it to my attention earlier this year. We were having to transfer some money to make payroll. I think what it was is I cashed out some comp time, and there might have been some number error there, but I'm not sure. But otherwise, everything else is the same.
So real quick question.
Yes, sir.
I like we've got enough money allocated in our M&O there.
Yes.
One of the things that I'm really interested in, and I know you are too, is maybe enhancing our ability to do storm chasing in the county and do that kind of training and coordination. Is that adequate to maybe step that up a little bit? One of the duties of the emergency manager is, you know, to coordinate that throughout the county and
Yes, sir.
and to get volunteers that want to do that and get them trained up and that sort of stuff. So it looks like we've not issued all the warrants and haven't used the entire estimate of needs for that. Is that, I guess what I'm asking, is there anything else that you might need to help us put that together and
I think we'd be okay because the National Weather Service does a class every year. They do several across the state.
right?
So it's Logan, Lincoln, and Payne County is the three counties that the Weather Service has us in. They'll come to Logan County. This last spring, we were in Lincoln County. This next, in 2020 now, so 2021, they'll be in Payne County.
Right.
2022, they'll be back here. And they do other classes, we do some online classes. I can definitely
So-
see if we can try to get them to come back and do some things through the weather service.
More to my point, I guess. I'm certainly interested in Lincoln County and the other counties, but I'm more interested in Logan County, right?
Yes.
And as our emergency manager, one of the duties is to train and put together a storm chasing outfit for our county, right?
Yes, sir.
That we shouldn't always have to rely on, I guess in my mind, an outside agency to come in and train us. I'm a big fan of the train-the-trainer concept, and would like for us to maybe take a bigger bite of that this next coming couple of years.
I'm aware of right-
Especially with the weather warning system we have now and some of the other things, the capabilities we have. I think it all ties together.
I believe right now that $7,000 of that for M&O would cover that.
Okay.
I haven't gone out and researched to see but I think we could cover that in there. I don't see why we couldn't right now.
All right, great. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
OSU.
What's up?
Good morning, gentlemen. My estimate of needs has gone up. I'm asking for an additional $14,262 in personal services and another $500 in travel expense than last year. That ask for increase is with losing a staff member that has been a fully county funded $48,000 program assistant. So I'm losing a staff and asking for that increase to cover 1.5 full-time educators with OSU picking up the remainder. The total benefit package for the cooperative extension investment on the state levels is $128,000, and they're asking for the additional $80,000 from the county. So there is an increase, but that covers not 2 full-time educators and a administrative assistant, but 1.5 full-time educators and administrative assistant.
You said you lost a full-time county? Is that what you said when you first?
Well, I'm losing a half-time. Our program assistant is actually like a 0.65%. So she works 25 hours a week, works 5 hours a day. And she basically helps us do all of our clerical type stuff. And does a really good job. And but this estimate of needs does not reflect her salary. So we're going to go down one, and of course no increase in salaries for anybody.
Any questions? Anybody?
So this $80,000 is for 2 full-time employees?
That is for 1.5 full-time employees and 1 full-time administrative assistant.
So 2.5 full-time employees.
Yes. They're,
Can you get us back a breakdown on the cost per employee?
yes. I think it actually works out to $6,666.50 per educator per month. And
I was kind of asking on an annualized basis. So we got 2.5 employees, right? One employee, first employee costs this much, the second employee costs that much, a half of the employee costs this much. That's kind of where I was going.
full educator, FTEs and program assistants are different, and I only have the salary for the,
Okay.
for that.
Could you do us a favor and get that information back to Troy, and she'll distribute it to the rest of the board?
I think so. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any
That's all I
questions,
have.
Mike?
Nah, I'm thinking, how were you paying this employee prior to, or were you just?
The program assistant, yeah, that's 100% county money. So there's $48,000 that the county's not paying anymore
I see.
for one of my staff.
I see. Got it.
However, the increase in the ask is increasing the county's portion of the total benefits package.
I got you.
So OSU's paying $128,000 for us, and you're paying $80,000.
All right, thank you, Brandon.
Thank you.
Rico?
Present.
What's so free about this?
Nothing. Ours hadn't changed much. We, our projects that we'd like to do next year is the spray foam the sheep and pig barn and fix the sheep and pen wash rack.
You know, like on them pens, Dennis, the FFA classes won't come out and do that kind of stuff anymore.
Mine, I have tried so many times. I mean, I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
I mean, we've offered to buy materials and I kind of thought we had some interest out of the Mulhall kids and the Guthrie kids for a short period of time.
Yeah.
And then, something comes up and we can't get nothing done. So, yeah, I'd love to see that happen because that's the way it used to be.
Yeah.
A long, long time ago when I was that age. But, nowadays I can't explain to you why other than I have asked. And I don't know if it's due to lack of teachers or, because there has to be somebody on site and having to leave there and come, it's just like building trailers and, we built 5 trailers a year when I was there and we can't get one built now, so I don't know. I can't answer that, I'm sorry.
That amazes me they don't do that.
We have asked, I can verify that.
And we used to mow cemeteries when I was in FFA too, and I don't think they do that anymore either.
No.
All righty. Any questions?
So you've got 30,000 in M&O this year that you're looking at. Okay. All right, that's all I got, sir.
All right, Dennis, thank you.
Thank you.
Gotcha. Y'all have a good day.
I'll work on that credit side, see if I can
Okay.
get them turned up.
Gotcha.
Assessor?
Yes. Doesn't matter which one you
Yeah,
want to
your
do first.
1,600 is the first one in their stack.
Okay. So in that one, I'm asking 3,600 for pay increase. And Troy, I have a question about that 400 I was talking about in travel. Don't I have to ask for that, for it to be there?
Yeah, so your travel is 500 a month, or it went to 6.
Right.
Times 12.
Right.
And that's what you need to ask for.
Okay.
The only reason I question is the way that you were saying it was making it sound like there was another increase.
No, just that one.
And that one was last year,
Yeah.
not a new one on this budget.
Okay, but I still have to ask for it to be in my
Correct.
budget, okay.
Right, statutory travel.
Yeah, so I'm asking for $400 increase in that statutory travel in order to have the 7,200 a month, a year. So the total increase I'm asking for is $4,000, 3,600 for increase in salaries and 400 for that travel. I'm returning approximately $22,000, part of which was personnel. I hired someone and had to fire them. And due to the pandemic and everything and school, we haven't been able to hire a new one yet, but I've got to hire another one. So I'm still asking for the same amount in that.
Any questions on that? Pretty cut and dry.
No, couldn't right.
So then the assessor would have visual inspection.
And I'm not asking for any increase on that one. And I'm gonna give back 19,000, but I'm still asking for the same amount because I've been told I need a new, server. And it will be between 15 and 20,000, I was told.
19,000 out of $375,000 is budgeting pretty tight as far as, I'm concerned. That all goes back to the general budget as carryover, and we certainly appreciate having carryover money rather than having something with a minus in front of it in the red.
I would remind the board that on the visual inspection, about 85% of that budget is returned to the county by the other taxing entities. So the schools, EMS have to pay their portion of that budget.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, Tish, thanks.
Thanks. Dun, dun, dun.
Sherry?
My budget's exactly the same as last year, except for $1,200 for the raise for my first deputy. That's the normal $100 a month, but that's it. Nothing else has changed.
Is that sufficient for your staff? Right? Okay. You brought it to us. If you're good with it,
I'm good with it.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Sherry.
And the commissioners,
Oh,
the actual commissioner's account.
We'll beat them up a little bit.
Get them money.
Yeah, well.
Ours is basically the same. We just asked for a pay increase for our secretary.
Right.
And then it was general government's accounts.
Well, she gets mental health pay.
Say what, sir?
She gets mental health pay.
Absolutely. Pain and suffering. Combat duty or something. I'm not sure what it is.
Well, we done a change on our general government just yesterday.
Approved an amendment that lowered the estimated request that you all had been worked up previously.
Charity, we left it the same.
Yes.
Audit, it's set by law.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is fluid to once all the numbers are in, because that's a mandated 1/10 of 1 mil.
How many years are they behind?
Well, this will be coming into the second one.
They normally go 3.
2 to 3, depends on their staffing.
Insurance is getting cheaper.
We wish.
FICA, retirement, and unemployment workman's comp. What does that run this year now? Million what?
Well over $1 million. It's
2 million, 191,000 to round it off. Yeah. It's the largest expense in our budget,
Absolutely.
is insurance.
Besides the sheriff's department.
See, you had to go there.
Donuts.
Done.
we asked for a highway levy account, which we won't get. If we don't ask, we don't get.
Actually, we thought we'd just add a little levity to the budget meeting, you know,
Yeah.
by asking for it.
So we, in that account, we asked for 300,000, 100,000 per district. Just kind of a wish list there. We should have made it a million.
We also agreed that that'll be the first account we cut if we need to reduce, or one of the first accounts, not maybe the first, but because we are going to talk about the county clerk's budget here.
County clerk,
My budget request is the same as last year. I do want to clarify, because I had a question after the last meeting. My first deputy had retired in September of last year, and I have yet to replace that position. So I gained some funds that way, and a new position wouldn't make the same money. So I do intend to give raises to my staff. I'm just recycling money to do that instead of asking for more.
One of the things I'd also like to point out is the county clerk's office is one of the few that brings in fee for service into their cash accounts and operates off of that for a large degree. And I'm a big proponent of fee for service, fee for services for government, rather than just blanket taxes. You know, we're just going to collect up a whole bunch of taxes and spend it as we think we ought to. I think a fee for service is a great way to do that. And, thanks for keeping our budget low and helping us in that regard.
excise.
We don't have much of a wish list.
There's no change.
You guys work cheap.
Yep.
Appreciate your service.
I ain't going there, man. I ain't going there.
Appreciate you serving.
That concludes that item, Chairman.
All right, no action needed on that. We just received them.
Yeah.
Item 5. Can we move that to the end of the agenda?
And that's your call.
Item 5, receive bi-monthly report of David Ball, Emergency Management Director.
Kind of just the highlights
See a little bit.
of the last couple of months for your reference. And everybody leaves.
You have
Not interesting.
You have this strange effect on people.
I do,
though. What can I tell you?
I'm liking
Damon
it.
thinks it's staying.
Should've moved it down.
Yeah. Yeah, see? But again, these are just kind of the highlights of the last couple of months for your reference.
Scientist.
So what goes on in these OEM conference calls? I see a bunch of them on here. Are they putting out some good information that you can share with us, or?
They were, when we were doing them, they've stopped doing them right now. What was it? The middle of June, was the last one.
June 3rd.
Basically,
Last one.
what they were saying were just updates on virus, kind of what was going on statewide. They were talking about PPE needs, different things. They were usually 15, 20-minute calls, maybe 30-minute calls. A couple of them were 30 minutes. But just kind of what was going on across the state, what they were seeing. At first, the state was having some challenges getting PPE items in, and they were just trying to let us know when they were getting items at first, they were going to the hospitals and ambulance services, and then they would come to fire departments and law enforcement agencies. And I think we've been very blessed. We've been able to get a lot of PPE items that we didn't have previously, that we weren't able to get. So it's in my opinion, it's been a blessing for the state to get those items.
Hey, David, I got a quick question on getting tested. Do you have to have signs of having a virus or?
So, my understanding, I called last week, you can go to our county, as of last week, you go to our county health department, they'll test you free of charge. What she told me was you have to call ahead of time, make an appointment. She said if you called first thing in the morning, they could more than likely get you squeezed in. If you called after lunch, it would be the next day. And they would test you somewhere between 2 to 5 days before you would get your results back from that test.
I had a person say yesterday that they went to get tested and they wouldn't test them because they didn't have any.
At the health department?
I'm not sure where they went.
Okay, see, I haven't heard that this week. They, and I don't want to speak for them, but I want to say maybe they're, if that is the case, maybe they're running slow on testing, the nasal testing strips. I also, last week, I called the Express Clinic on Division, talked to a lady down there. She told me they are testing down there. Takes about 30 minutes to get your test result back. They have a different machine than what the State Department of Health is using. She said that you have to make an appointment ahead of time. When you get there, you call or go online, tell them you're there, and then they're either coming out to your vehicle or you come in at the Express Clinic. She said they file with your insurance, whatever your insurance is. So if you had a $20 copay for going, then you would have that copay. She did say, she told me that they were averaging about 100 people a day to come in there. And I know every time I've just happened to go down there, the parking lot is just packed full of cars. But she said you gotta call ahead of time, that if they started seeing those numbers go up, that you may have to go to a different Express Clinic that has a testing machine.
My guys did some work the other day at the fairgrounds and the health department was testing in the parking lot, but they only do it for about 30, 40 minutes and they're done. Maybe they don't have enough tests to go all day. I don't know.
Could have been, or that might have been when they had people scheduled to come through to get tested, and they may have had another round that afternoon. I'm not sure. If you wanted to, I think we could get somebody from the health department to come.
No, I'm okay.
Tell you for sure. I can get with them and get back with you.
I'm okay.
But for testing for Logan County, that's the two things that I'm aware of.
I just didn't know if you had to have some kind of.
I don't believe so. Not you. As of last week, you did not. You could just go, hey, I want to be tested. I was around a large population, or I think I may have had it, or whatever, and you could go get tested.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank
Thank
you. Any
you.
questions for David?
No, sir.
I'm wondering about our wildfire status. Has there been any reports on that?
In my opinion, we were really close to start having a lot of wildfires here, but we were very blessed and had 1.5 inches of rain, give or take, about 2 weeks ago, I believe is when it was, when we had that rain. So that's helped, but the potential is there. Every day we go without getting rain, the potential is higher. And the drought is slowly, the worst drought conditions are slowly coming back to the east from out west. Major County, Kingfisher counties are worse, and we're in a dry to abnormally dry conditions, and those come out every Thursday morning. But as time goes on, if we don't get rain, our fire conditions potentially will get worse. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I'm pretty scared
We
of
need a
that.
motion on receiving the report. All right.
I'll second.
All right, David, thank you. So, item 6, consideration of possible action on financial statement of resale property fund. Good job, David. Bowman. $316,902.62.
Mhm.
Is that a net plus?
That's the funds available for the year for her to expend. She pays most of her staff from that account.
That's the treasurer.
Treasurer.
Yes, okay. I move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. 7, consideration of possible action to approve a resolution approving monetary compensation for overtime hours in the election board.
So we have to annually ask the board to approve that the election board will bill outside entities for the overtime cost of an election, and they get to collect that money back.
Outside entities like the school board and.
Yeah, fire boards,
Yes.
anything that's not a state election.
Kind of a fee for service deal.
Kinda, sorta.
Yeah, I like that.
I'll make a motion to approve.
A second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion carries. Item 9, consideration of possible action to approve resolution designating depository banks for 2021.
Back to 8, boss.
I didn't want to do 8.
Okay, so let's do that.
Let's do 9 first and we'll go back to 8. How's that?
This is just allowing the treasurer to use these banks for county funds.
Did you, someone drew a line through 8, so I just wanted
I did that, I made a mistake.
I thought the Greeks go over and done that. I'm just saying. I got ahead of myself.
You ever ski? Snow ski?
No.
There's a thing called getting over the tips of your skis.
No.
You don't ever want to do that.
I've never done that. I've done a little water skiing, but no snow skiing.
Well, it's like coming in saddled when you're roping,
I've done that.
unexpectedly, you know. Getting over the tips of your skis.
I'll move that we approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. We'll go back to item 8, consideration of possible action approving resolution establishing Logan County investment policies.
Not that we ever had any extra money to invest, but in the event we might, this will allow the treasurer, based on those circumstances, we have to do it annually.
Right. Well, doesn't that always also apply to the other funds that are on deposit for, as in, Where we draw
Yeah, it
into-
would be all county funds.
yeah, all county.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, we don't have a squirreled away fund that we've got in
Sure
the
we
bank. Okay. It's a little bitty one.
Infant soft fund.
Yeah. So I move we approve.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Item 10, consideration of possible action to approve resolution renewing lease agreement with SNB Bank for the following equipment for District 3. This is for my Caterpillar road graders, and I would move that we approve.
I would second that.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Now, other than they look like they're getting a little long in the tooth.
Yeah.
It's 2016 models.
This will be the last go around for these boys.
You're getting there, aren't they?
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, motion carries. 11, consideration of possible action to approve a resolution renewing lease agreement with Security State Bank for the following equipment for District 3. I've got a couple John Deere road graders that I need to.
How do you like those?
The guys that run them like them. I think they're great graders. I just haven't ran one long enough to, they're just different than a cat. I just-
The 662s are all-wheel drive. They got front-wheel drive on them, and they'll pull anything that you want to do. I mean, they're like a mini bulldozer if you get
I got
after
the
them.
12Ms and they're all-wheel drive, and yes, sir, they do get you out of those stuck places when you get stuck on the side of the road
I move we approve.
in a soft, yeah.
I'll second Marvin's motion. So I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Item 12, consideration of possible action to approve a resolution renewing maintenance agreement with RK Black for District 3s. I'll move that we approve.
I will second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, motion carries. 13, consideration of possible action to approve application for temporary appropriation for the general fund and health department of 2021.
So, practice is to award as a temporary 1/2 of last year's awarded general fund budget, except where noted, and we have a couple of exceptions. Workman's comp, we fund 100%, we have the bill, it saves us $4,000 rather than splitting the payment. We also fund general government M&O to allow for the full payment of the property and liability insurance. This year, I have adjusted just based on last year. We have funded the additional salary for our civil ADA for Lowell. And when we split that, it caused a little payment problem with the DA's council last year. So I awarded it so we can make the full $6,500 and we don't have that problem. Other than that, just the same format as we've used for several years. We have what was awarded budget for each of this account, what their estimated needs that you all just received are, and the temporary appropriation in that final column. That's general, and this is health.
So Troy, how come the DA don't put that in her estimate of needs?
It is.
Okay.
It is. It's a line item in there for 6558, I think it is.
Okay.
It was the first question I ever asked in a budget meeting.
Why we need one?
No, why we were paying something that's not statutorily required.
Oh, yeah.
And now I figured it out. Because the $6,800 to have Lowell on retainer is a great bargain for the county. He does a lot more work for us than that.
He's a pretty wise guy.
Yeah,
Did you just call him the wise guy?
one of the best in the business.
He's a smart feller.
Very.
He just talks shit.
2 cents.
Killing me. Kill me, Smalls.
Yeah.
I'll move that we
I'll
approve.
second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
I have nothing for item 14 and 15.
Item 16 is consideration of possible action on consent agenda items.
Okay, so here's the transfers from last fiscal year for cash accounts to open up this fiscal year.
Yay. So what time does the excise board meet today?
Whenever you all are done, as long, provided it's after 10 o'clock. So 10 o'clock or after your meeting here.
And then we have a tax roll correction meeting after that.
Correct.
Big day.
Monty, you can take me to lunch today.
I think I can do that.
Okay.
I'll call Lana and tell her to get it ready.
I can send you a copy of that.
It's just one line item I'm interested in right now. But yeah, that would be great too, if you could. I appreciate that.
It's
Thank you.
kind of what it makes it easier than your
Sure.
little individual forms.
70 cents? Is that right?
Yes, sir, that's the balance in that account we're moving over.
Okay. Just checking.
That's her account too.
No, that one's yours.
Oh, well, you had one, what was it?
Was 60 cents.
60 cents, it was yesterday, wasn't it? Ka-ching.
Yeah. The ink and the paper and the time just
Yes. Ate that 60 cents up, didn't it?
I believe the testing like the Express is like, if you do the test, it's only, they can only guarantee like 70% of that test because they just do the swab or whatever. But if you like to go to the health department or other places that poke your brain, that's 100%.
I don't
Yeah.
think any of them know anything.
When you look at some of the reports come back, some of it false positives.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah, they did a test on a bunch of grapes, and it came back positive, right?
white grapes or red grapes?
I think they were red grapes, the one that's supposed to be good for you.
How long ago was that? That one of those Chinese things?
Then I learned that stealing was, that's like in my mind, my young one.
Take those on the grapes.
Oh, yeah.
Hey Damon, I seen them putting another air conditioner unit on your roof. Was it yesterday?
Monday.
Monday?
Yeah, the unit that they put up there, for some reason, it didn't have Freon in it. And it's supposed to come factory from the Freon. They said, well, we're gonna charge it. And after they got to looking at it, it was only working at half capacity. So they shipped a new one in and had it installed. We should be good to go.
So that's one that we done to the,
It's like buying a truck without a steering wheel.
Yeah, it was weird. They go, well, it's supposed to come with Freon charge.
These out here, these are the cash funds.
I'm like, yeah, so let's get another one in, we're gonna charge you. I'm like, we have issues with it.
Yeah.
Sounds like a tire salesman deal, you know, really tax mounting and balancing, yeah.
You know, the charge you the air they put in.
did you want to balance down with that?
So, hopefully this knows. So it was a factory issue, so hopefully it'll do what it's supposed to.
I guess that was no cost to the county.
No cost. Yeah, integrity paid factory.
Was it for the office part or the
No,
junk part?
Charlie Pod. Charlie Pod. That was actually controls the kitchen and Charlie Pod. So I mean,
How many total units do you have?
8.
8?
Well, no, total 12. 12, 14. We put 2 new ones in since I've been
Imagine being a sheriff and not over the jail. That's all the time.
No. Nope. Don't work.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about it anymore.
No. Start today, I think.
What? It's the trust problem.
Trust me. A lot less duties,
A lot less funding.
a lot less funding. Basically, it's cheap now.
And the thing that I run into with some of those guys is large county, large population, but their responsibility, all the service is very small. Because they're all over the municipality.
Right.
So it's like, why do you need all those deputies? I mean,
Yeah.
reward fund. This is pretty riveting. $100 on 10 o'clock. You
You got your 6.
You got your 6.
Yeah. I thought I had my 6.
You're 270. That's left.
Yeah.
So I got meeting, I know.
I know I got 10 o'clock I gotta be at.
Shit. Have a good, Damon.
I will. Y'all too.
See you, sir.
Missy's,
Leave me in good
Missy's
hands.
inventory meeting.
Yeah. Oh, we got a donut conference at 10.
They're just signing their.
All right,
500.
That's where we got this transfer here from the law library. Where's our law library at?
It's digital, there's,
So what does a county employee have to do to operate their law library?
that's operated through the court system, I couldn't answer you fairly.
So if it's digital, is it online and available to,
I believe it's on a computer that's accessible in the court room. But again, I don't work in that, so I couldn't give you,
Oops.
you know, Monty, with you putting everything online, you might ask you to do
I'll
that.
find out.
Is that what the law library fees for?
yes, it's a collected fee statutorily.
Yeah.
We used to have an actual law library in the little room over here in the 6th story.
Is that, I mean, my point is, I know some employees get paid extra for doing the law library.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that that's not set as a statutory function, Monty. I couldn't tell you for sure.
I'm just
It's a
curious.
200 a month salary.
I'm just curious how that works. If everything's on the computer, I mean, what do we do then?
I don't know. Cheryl would have to answer that.
Just curious.
And in all fairness, they have to remit certain percentages, and I'm not sure how that calculation, that actually goes back to the state's law library revolving fund as well. So they have to make a quarterly remittance out of that account to the state.
I was just curious what we did for the law library.
Sign the checks.
Charge people for it. It's probably not even used, I mean.
Well, it's supposed to be available for all the county officers, right?
I think that's actually public,
Yes, that too,
but again, I just don't know the
Which-
details.
which is kind of why I asked, why don't we have it online?
So we got this one there.
What is a law library? Just a book of law?
Back when we had an actual library, it was in this little room over here, and it was nothing but law books for legal
The
research.
statutes.
Statute, yes. Statute.
And case law and all of that sort of stuff.
But we don't operate on statutes and case law anymore. We operate more on feelings, how you feel about it. Sorry, I had to do that.
Once I got used to using OSCN.net to
Right.
look up statutes, it took me a while. I like my books,
Okay.
but the state
I've never
doesn't send
seen
them to
books.
me for free anymore, so I had to give them up.
they got a computer set out for the public to,
If I remember right, you know where the stairs are to go up to, on the west side of the courtroom, with Jug's in, you got the door that goes to Judge Corley's office and the stairway. There, I believe there used to be a computer there that serves now as the law library. I believe that's to be.
so if it was set up for the public and it got court going on, it ain't like you could access that.
Again,
Not your job to figure that out, I get it.
there are certain things about this county I really don't know.
Therefore.
Can you say that one more time?
Yeah.
What would that taste?
But here's the thing, because I hate receiving that I don't know unless it's followed by, but I'll find out. Blankets.
Yes.
Too hot for that.
So after we get finished here, we can do more purchase orders today.
I sent an email this morning, I'm not sure if you've had time to find it.
Probably not.
While we can, I've just sent out the reminder that we're still moving the money and we're still trying to balance and remember, not all of last year's money in cash accounts is moved, so, you know, don't spend like until we make sure exactly how much you have.
Well, I had that discussion with my road foreman this morning. He said, we're gonna try not to put anything on purchase order stack,
So
unless it's an emergency.
Gotta let the ink dry.
that's fine, that's fine.
Sorry?
Gotta let the ink dry first.
Yeah.
So,
Look, we lost a tire on one of our tractors, one of the big tires on the back yesterday. And the guys were breaking the tire off and changing it out because we couldn't put a purchase order in to have the tire company come out and change it for us. So we did it ourselves. And as they were rolling it off and rolling it toward the front of the tractor to get it on the trailer that was parked in front of the tractor, it was like a comedy of errors. It slipped and busted the valve stem off of the front tire.
Well, I will say that the purchasing office truly appreciates everyone's cooperation in how we handled the switch over this year. It made a huge difference in the timing and being able to go a day without purchasing made things much easier to get things moving quickly.
I understand. We just chalked it up to stuff happens
Well,
on the valve stem.
I'm sorry about that.
Wasn't your fault, because they were looking for somebody to blame and you weren't anywhere around.
But it really, shutting off when we did really made a big difference into how quickly we could get moving ahead. We wish it was just a matter of push a couple buttons and poof, it was all done.
Easy way.
Doesn't work that way yet.
They're working on it.
It's better than it used to be. I remember plenty of fiscal year nights that we left here at 9:30 at night. Of course, in those days, I didn't come in at 4:30 in the morning like I do now, so.
Mhm.
So you get here early so you can stay late, right?
Well, sometimes. Yeah, I figured out that 10 hours is about my mental capacity. When I hit that 10-hour mark, my mind starts going, okay, enough. look like 8s.
I don't want to get into that discussion with you about mental capacity.
I know.
Take the Fifth Amendment.
I figured that done. Good Lord.
Stack.
I vote we use signature stamps from now on during this meeting.
Only time of year.
At the first of the year, yes.
Troy, with the census, when it's all done, when will the road districts actually, will it be like, when will actually
It'll be sometime in 21.
2021?
You're talking about redistricting? It happens, we've got, I think it's like 6 months after we get,
6 months after?
after the feds send the results
Correct.
to the county,
Okay.
which is gonna be delayed about another 6 months because they can't.
I think it was like March of 12 that we redistricted last time. Somewhere along in there.
I'm in no hurry.
I wanna give all my bad roads to Monty, so I would like to get this over with.
State Department did the same thing. We get a 74D now.
Yeah. Department of Transportation.
They abandoned
Is that the one you traded the bridge?
He didn't get to trade. They said, this is how we're gonna do this. It's, yeah.
But they made it sound so nice.
Sounded good.
Is that where, was that all the hint to put out that plug about answer the census? It's critically important to road funding in Logan County?
Yep.
Okay.
Now that you mentioned that, could you mention that again?
Or they can go online at logancounty.ok.com.
Yes, there is a little news flash out that details that population is the largest factor. There's many pieces. It's the largest piece of the factor of the equation to road and bridge funding that we receive from the state.
You can get it online.
And you can do it online. And there's all kinds of information about county government available at logancountyok.com. Any other plugs we need to give today?
Road closures are on there too?
Road closures, if you can sign up for notifications of all of this stuff and receive an email or text message.
Storm weather related.
What's our hits on that?
You know, I haven't went in and done an overall. It's amazing to me how many do. We do get, but I haven't pulled stats for quite some time.
Troy stored away my IP address.
Track you.
Yeah, track it.
And we use it for our road condition work orders. We
Yeah, each district has the ability to file a
really do utilize that.
road work request online.
Good record.
The financials of the county are there, the monthly road funding is there, the sales tax collection is there, the expense reports of the checks we write is there.
You get a road permit sign, a road permit there too.
You can get a road crossing permit there. Fill in, type on it and print.
That's right.
And basic information
Fee
for
for service.
services and offices. And I will be adding, I have a note on my desk when I get through all this, I will be adding a how do I for the OMMA Certificate of Compliance.
Yes, yeah.
And
That's it.
explain how that works.
I had an
No, the
The
state has a
generalized
specific form, but we have to get the form and do our share, and then we have 2 attachments that go to the form that they have to have.
And of course, the state reimburses us for our time to do that.
0.
Oh,
This was the unfunded mandate that was placed on the county.
a nice fee-for-service model that they came up with.
And that's a regulatory.
We pay the fee.
Yes,
right?
yes.
We pay the fee for their service.
Yes, this, we had no choice, it had to be done, and there is no fee that came with it to cover even the minimal cost of what it takes for us to make our copies and store it and do all of that stuff, so.
You're right. I'll start to get a little slim.
Is there any more yellow legal size paper left in Logan County anywhere?
Heaven help us if we get hit by a tornado, right, we'll suffocate in all the paperwork.
And you wonder why we're outgrowing our space.
Yes.
You got 6 stories worth of space.
Yeah, someday if we live long enough. Hold our breath just right.
So what's the statute on keeping paper? When it can be archived to digital?
It really depends on the different types of what we're talking about. For most of the purchasing side, the financial side, we have a 5-year requirement to maintain records. Items that are scanned, we can get by with, but the problem that we have, or I have, and I think is kind of almost universal, is, you know, there's that element of human error. You miss scanning something, you missed a pay, you know. So we try to, while we scan every invoice, every receiving report, and every purchase order into our system, and it's been a phenomenal resource tool, because now we're not digging in boxes in the basement when we need something. But we still hold on to the paper copies for the 5-year statutory. And that's on the financial side.
Getting one.
They go to the shredder after that.
Yes.
County barbecue.
And some things, I'm as guilty as the clerks before me. There's just certain things that I'm not comfortable getting rid of just because the clock said 5 years. So we kind of hold on to some stuff, and it's paid off. And one of those things being really old personnel records. There's certain limits we can get rid of them. But then we'll get a request from the retirement system needing us to verify work histories and such. And so, you know, we don't get rid of those, and that is taking a lot of space. We're trying to get some of the old ones archived and scanned to free up, but, you know, that takes hands.
Yeah.
All the documentation, this, not the financial stuff, but like resolutions, contracts, some of that odd stuff that comes across to the board, we actually have in files back to 1934 on site.
So like Oklahoma County, like this, the statutory receipt, will Oklahoma County have like,
Yeah, I'm sure they have a different process because of their size.
Oh, the size and
that kind of
manpower, yeah.
thing. But yeah, they would do an incredible amount more than we do.
would each commissioner need to sign it like?
I think they're set up to have some sort of digital but I'm not familiar with how it really works. Tulsa County as well.
I mean, I'm not comparing us to, I mean, it's not even close, but I was just curious.
And maybe someday we'll get to that, you know, baby steps.
Oh, yeah, no, it's a little different animal.
If the knuckles on my signing hand hold out long enough, that's all I'm good.
We've come a long way in just
Oh,
the
I
years
bet.
I've been with the county. And we scan in my office a tremendous amount.
That scanner through his paces, I've seen you.
We burn them,
You do?
we burn through them, we do. But it's very advantageous.
Yes.
While we're signing, any comments, announcements, questions about the Board of County Commissioners?
I can't sign and talk at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah, I can. Actually, I got something, Monty, that we talked about yesterday. Had to do with trucking and gravel, and you know, our cost to have gravel delivered by the ton is like $24 a ton, something like that.
25.
And I was able to talk with a trucking company yesterday that'll haul from Drum Run. I move we approve.
Second.
For $13.50 a ton. And adding that together, that comes out to $22 a ton, so we could save, you know, we'll save $2 a ton on that, which is, when you're hauling 1,300 tons, you know, it's a chunk of change.
That's it.
That it
It's a
saves.
mile.
So I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the consent agenda items? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, the motion carries. Any more questions, announcements?
No, sir.
No.
Any citizens desire to be heard? Hearing none. 19, consideration possible action adjournment.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.